And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to take a look at a small little card game, one with a little bit of a political theme. We're going to take a look at Fishing for Terrorists 2.0 from Slugfest Games. Now this is a game for 2 to 6 players, which they say takes about 45 minutes, and I guess that really depends on the number of players you have. But it's essentially a game of Go Fish with a political overlay and a couple of extra cards. So real quick, we'll take a look at what you get inside that small little box and how the game plays, and then we'll come back here and get my final opinions on it. Here you can see the setup of Fishing for Terrorists version 2.0. Now this, as I said in the intro, is basically going to be a game of Go Fish. Each player is going to have a hand of cards that is going to contain different types of suits. So here we can see 2 different suits of terrorists. We have the Deadly Agents of Unspeakable Evil. We have a baby here and it has some flavor text on it. We have the Outspoken Champion of the Hidden Agenda here. And then we have another Deadly Agent of Unspeakable Evil. In addition, we have some action cards that you'll be able to use on your turn. But basically, each player is going to start their turn out by asking one of the other players, do you have any, and they're going to have a choice of any of these different categories of different types of terrorists. So perhaps they would say, do you have any outspoken champions of the hidden agenda? And the other player would look in their hand, the player being asked, and they'd say, well, they're not supposed to say go fish. They're supposed to say anything but go fish. So something like, you know, fish for terrorists, or go look in a bunker, or whatever it may be, you know, go search the Taliban, or it doesn't matter what it is. If they don't have the card, they'll say that. At that point, the player who asked is going to draw 2 cards from the deck and add them to their hand. After they have done this, they're going to look at their hand and they're going to see if they have any pairs that they would like to play to the table. And it just so happens I have a pair of Outspoken Champions of the Hidden Agenda. Just what I was looking for, and I can play those to the table. Now, if I were to have 3 of those, I could not play all 3. I can only play in pairs. So 3 of a kinds are no good. I also happen to have started my hand with the Deadly Agents of Unspeakable Evil pair, and I could play these to the table. Now, there are reasons you'd want to hold these in your hand, because there are cards that can take them away from you. There are also cards that can put them back in the deck, or give them to your opponent, or simply make them unscorable. So there are several different types of bonus cards you can play on your turn, and the first is called a turn card. We can see one here. This one is called the Hidden Detention Center. Now, what you can do with this card is you can put it out on a pair of captured terrorists with any type of name. It doesn't matter which ones they are. But as long as they're hidden, they're in the detention center. And when they're in the detention center, they basically are not able to be affected by other players' cards. In addition, if you capture the other pair of those terrorists, there are 4 of each type of terrorist in the deck, they go next to it and they don't count as a full set of 4, which is worth bonus points at the end of the round. But at some point you can find a way to take this off and you'll have the full set, which is safe from being taken. In addition to the turn cards, there are cards called anytime cards. They're kind of like interrupts that you can play during your opponent's turn or your own turn or whatever you want. For example, this one says look at the top 2 cards of the draw pile and then return them to the draw pile in any order. So maybe you can kind of negate your opponent being able to do something by looking at the top 2 cards, or maybe you know you want to draw because you've looked at the top 2 cards and you'd rather choose something you know your opponent doesn't have in order to draw the cards at the top of the deck. There are also cards called sometimes cards. We have this one here, which is Interdepartmental Manhunt. When you play this card, you conduct an investigation and name all other players in the investigation, and if they have a matching terrorist, they have to give it to you from their hand. The card can be stopped by other cards in your hand, so there's the You're Out of Jurisdiction card, which negates the effect of another card. But basically, if somebody stops this card, you get to draw 2 cards because the card was canceled. Now, the last type of card you have is going to be a card which is unavoidable. You know them because they have this pattern along the outside. This card is unavoidable, and when you play it, another player basically puts the terrorists they just captured, meaning they played them out in front of them, into the discard pile, and they're gone from the game. They can't score them. You're going to go in this manner until you've gone through this deck, and at the end of the game, you're going to score points. And you score points as follows. At the end of the game, each pair of captured terrorists is going to be worth 3 points. You're going to lose 1 point for every terrorist you still have in your hand. So if I were to have this terrorist in my hand at the end of the game, it'd be negative 1 point. And then if you have all 4 terrorists of one group, it's going to be worth a bonus 2 points. That's called a closed case. Now there is one more type of card in this deck, and it's called a top priority item. If I can find one real quick, I will show it to you right here. We have the top priority item. Anytime you draw one of these cards, you have to play it immediately. And this one says, starting with the player who played this card, each player in turn order must show a terrorist of their choice from their hand if they happen to have any. When they do so, if any player is holding a member of the same group in their hand, they may immediately claim that terrorist and capture the pair. So basically you're going to reveal a card hoping that nobody else has any of that card, or it's going to get stolen from you. Basically, if more than one player tries to claim the terrorist, the player who showed it keeps it. So you either want one that nobody has, or one that multiple people have, and they're not going to be able to take away from you. As I said, after you play all of the cards through, whoever has the most points by playing out these terrorists and getting the full groups is going to be the winner. And there you have Fishing for Terrorists 2.0 from Slugfest Games. Now, I wasn't really expecting much from this game, and that's probably good, because the game is, as I said in the introduction, essentially Go Fish. The mechanics are very similar. There are a couple of cards that make the game even more random than Go Fish, in which you draw them and maybe you put somebody else's scored pile back into the draw deck, or you steal it from them, and that adds just another element of luck to the game. Not usually my style of game. Now, the game does have some interesting and comical artwork, as well as some comical text, flavor text on the cards, or some naming of some of the cards that I do find a benefit to the game. It is enjoyable to read those cards, but I think after a playthrough or two plays through, that novelty is going to wear off, and you're really left with a random game of Go Fish. Not too fun, not too great, not one that I would want for my own collection, but one that maybe is suitable for you know, a group that likes light little card games with a lot of randomness.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.